Welcome back, baseball fans, and introducing the 1978, 79, 80, 81 Fall League is here. This week we're going to show you the draft results, and then we'll have baseball play beginning next week. Let's see how last year ended. If we can see if we can show you that at all. That would be over in here, I think. Let's see, the schedule of a year ago. And that is here at the very end here. So at the end of last year, Baltimore, the Orioles, ended up beating the Cincinnati Reds in the 77, 78, 79, 80 World Series. So, the Orioles get to decorate the following year with their colors. This is an Orioles font. They did that with Palmer, Flanagan, Dennis Martinez, and Scott McGregor leading the pitching staff. Tippy Martinez closed it out. And the Cincinnati Reds, the bats went cold in that World Series. That was late 70s, mostly a 1979 Oriole and 1979 Cincinnati team. So since that time, we've had a draft. We'll have the draft results later this week, and I just want to kind of show you what the difference is between the Fall League that I do and the Summer League and the Fall League. So the schedule for the Fall League is, I wanted to experiment with divisional schedule primarily. So you play best of 5 series against your 3 division rivals twice. So you play up to 30 games against your rivals in your division. And then there's 4 other games that are played across your somebody other in another division in your league. And there's no interleague games. So it's really about division winners. The top 4 division winners are going to be the best teams, and then a couple of wild cards will make it and make things interesting. But it really enables kind of a wilder and less predictable finish than in the Summer League. If you followed the Summer League, you just saw the Cincinnati Reds beat the Oakland A's in a matchup that would have also happened in 1972. It happened in the 1970-73 timeline I played. But in this timeline, which is 78 and 71, because of this scheduling format, you could have a lot of strange things happening. And I've already started and played many games already this year, throughout the year, just so that in the fall, in September, October, November, December, January, there won't be so many games to play during the football season. And so the Fall League will be broadcasting games all through October, November, December, January, and the Fall League World Series will be on Super Bowl weekend, is when I did it last year, the Super Bowl weekend. So the Super Bowl and my Fall League Championship will happen simultaneously. This is a kind of a look at the schedule, which is very generic, obviously, because let's start at the top with, like, the Yankees are playing Boston, Baltimore, Toronto. They play the White Sox, and then they play Boston, Baltimore, and Toronto again. So it's not much of a schedule as far as creativity goes. But, you know, the point is to just allow the divisions to play within themselves and kind of, you know, really get grudge matches within your division. Here is a look at the standings to this point before we get started. Let's start in the American League. The hottest team is the Kansas City Royals. Of course, we know George Brett's 1980 card is on this team now, and they are off to a 12-3 start. And they have the best record in the American League, and they, of course, would have been in the 1980 World Series. And 78, they would have also been to the playoffs. So they have 2 playoff caliber squads there. The Indians are a surprise. You often see this. Indians and the Tigers can do good things when they don't have to play against Baltimore, New York, and Toronto, and Baltimore, and Boston. So they're 11-3. The Texas Rangers are doing well out west in a very mediocre division. The Angels should be doing better because they were a 1979 powerhouse. but they're not doing so much. They're at 500, so this division's up for grabs. The Oakland A's are rebuilding, and Seattle's being plucky. And then in the East, you have a case of where the Yankees, we know, still have players from those 77 and 78 World Series teams. We know Baltimore has a good squad in 79 and 80. We know Boston is good through the whole timeline. And this is really where the Blue Jays are really going to get beat up a little bit because, frankly, they have to use actual Toronto Blue Jays, unlike the Summer League, which was created in the early 1970s when I actually gave them a pretty reasonable expansion team. The reality is Toronto took a while, probably to, 83, 84, 85 before they were any good. They did add Dave Stieb to this roster this year, so that should help them. And then the Expos in the American League should be doing good things with Gary Carter and company. And the Twins are sitting at the 6th seed right now. 128 games played in the American League. In the National League, I played 133 games. And the Las Vegas and Portland squads, this has been the big story. Las Vegas has the best record in the National League. They're 12-4. And number 1 seed, they just can beat up. They're playing primarily their division all the time, so it's really that Arizona and Colorado have played very poorly, and Vegas and Portland have been beating them up with regularity. So they're all looking like both teams may make the playoffs. The Pirates finally gotten past the Reds, who have a little bit of a World Series hangover. Again, this is 78 through 81, so the 81 players, remember that Cincinnati Red team had the best record in baseball in 81, but there's only 2 players from that roster on this squad. And then you have the Pirates, the Cubs. The Phillies, I thought they'd be running away with this more. This division is very weak, and the Phillies are the runaway team there. And so that is it. We've played 261 games in the season. And when you look at the schedule, these are all the pitching rotations for all the teams. Players in red are guys who can pitch on 3 days rest. There's a couple teams that need a 5th starter because they don't have enough guys who can pitch on 3 days rest. And we have done the first 4 portions. All of these games have been played. So for the rest of the Fall League, from now through January, February, it'll be 3 straight weeks of divisional games to get divisional champions and so forth. And in the format, we'll have, it's just a flip. Whoever had home field advantage in the first series doesn't get it for this series. That's the only difference. So that's an early look. We'll take a look now. You'll see the draft picks for this off season coming up through this week, and then next week we'll go back to the Summer League off season work, looking at the trade carousel, the keep waves and retires, and also look at some Strat-O-Matic cards from 71, 72, 73, and 74. And Saturday will be the Fall League game of the week. We'll just have 1 game a week because I don't like to do a lot of baseball in the autumn and winter, of course, when I'm preoccupied with football pretty much. So that's it. Thanks for checking out this video, and looking forward to you guys checking out the Fall League. We'll see you next time.